Welcome to the Deepers Creepers podcast, where we like to get high and talk about horror movies. I'm Casey.
And I'm Jess. And this week, we are going to be talking about Carrie!
Yay! I love my Carrie baby.
I admitted to Casey that I've never seen this full movie. I can't believe it. I was sitting there watching it. I'm like,
sacrilege.
This movie's so fucking good. And it was so sad.
Oh,
So I know there's a lot of people out there that have seen this. And actually, we wanted to give a birthday shout out to
Nicole. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, you. We love you so much, Nicole. Happy birthday. Happiest of birthdays.
Thank you for being a listener. We adore you.
For so long. She requested this movie months ago for her birthday. She specifically wanted us to do the 1976 Carrie, which is what we're doing. And she wanted it to come out on her birthday. So this is an episode that will come out on a Thursday instead of Sunday. So you'll get it a few days early.
Ooh.
So it'll come out on the 18th for her birthday. And this is further proof that we will honor your requests. So send us more requests. We will do them.
Tell me what you want, what you really, really want.
And happy birthday to Nicole. So we are going to be covering the 1976 Carrie. I have seen all of them. I've seen the Rage Carrie 2. I saw the 2002 and I've seen the 2013. So I will be mentioning those throughout. But yeah, we're definitely going to be talking about one of Brian De Palma's masterpieces. Brian De Palma is a master of his craft, truly. He's made some of the greatest movies of all time. He is such an amazing director. He has such a style. Like, you know a Brian De Palma movie when you see it. You start seeing those split diopter shots and you're like, oh, it's De Palma. And then you start hearing people moaning in pain and you're like, oh, it's De Palma.
Yeah.
The ecstasy shot at the end. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Score by Pino Donaggio, one of my favorite horror scores of all time. It is so sensual and like soft and then very like chilling and shrieky in some parts. If you listened back to our Guess the Score episode, that was one of the answers, was near the end when she's in her prom scene, obviously. The reason we pointed to this is my Carrie tattoo. I will tag the artist who did it, One Man Riot, Marty. He did this as well. He is amazing. We love his style, obviously. And yeah,
based out of Nashville. If you're in Nashville, Tennessee, ever go see him.
Seriously,
get a tattoo.
His style's amazing. Or if you're not in Nashville, he does have a website, and he does the coolest like
horror movie
Valentine's cards, stickers. He did that poster and that poster.
And I have. She has more from him. I have several posters from him at home.
He's so great.
We love him. He's a doll.
Yes.
Shout out Marty.
Yeah, absolutely. Go follow him. I'll post his Instagram and everything. So yeah, I am obviously a huge fan of this movie. I love Stephen King. We're doing Stephen King summer, which we'll talk about that later. Anyway, so I mean, I love his movies. I have been a fan of his since I was a little kid, and Carrie has always been one of my favorites. I think a lot of young girls who aren't the most popular, those outsiders, those outcasts, whatever you want to call us, can resonate with Carrie a lot. And, growing up, I was like, oh, I love Carrie.
I think it'll be really fun for us to talk about this for the sheer fact that you are such a huge Stephen King fan. And I'm not by any means saying I'm not, but I know for a fact Casey would run leaps and bounds around me with her Stephen King knowledge. And this is the first time I fully watched this movie, so I'm coming at it with like a fresh lens.
And I love that. Yeah, especially like an outsider who's seen a lot of Stephen King adaptations, but watches them as movies and not specifically as a Stephen King adaptation, which unfortunately, like, I try to separate myself and I try to watch his movies, from a neutral basis, but it's hard for me to because
you're such a big fan.
And 9 out of 10 times I've read what it's based on. So obviously I have read Carrie. If you're an audiobook listener and you get Carrie on Audible, it is read by Sissy Spacek, which is one of the coolest fucking things.
I love that.
I loved the audiobook. She did a great fucking job. So Sissy Spacek is obviously our star. She is the titular Carrie. Carrie Etta White is her full name. She is incredible. She killed this role. She wasn't considered for it at first because they didn't think she could make herself, quote, ugly enough because Sissy Spacek is beautiful. But she did a great job at that. She put a bunch of Vaseline in her hair and wouldn't wash her face before the audition. Like, hair and makeup would, tried to come at her during the audition, and she was like, no, get away from me. And, like, she got this role because she understood the fucking point.
That's method acting at its finest right there.
She's amazing. Method acting without hurting someone else.
That part. Just wanted to throw it out there, because Casey forced me to watch such a shitty movie. Last time we did a review, I'm going to be eating Cheetos on this podcast. Little ASMR for you.
Love it. So,
just want to throw that out there now. Cheetos, sponsor us. Sponsor me.
Yes.
Hot Cheetos, specifically.
We will tattoo
Chester,
the Cheeto.
I already plan on getting a Hot Cheeto tattoo. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
I'm going to get Flaming Hot as a tramp stamp in the Flamin' Hot print. Oh my god, I should get the little fire too.
Yes.
It's gonna be fucking stupid. Just like me. Sponsor us.
The puffs are my favorite.
I know. You got me back onto them. Anyways, so let's talk about Carrie. I want to start off by saying, when this movie starts, the first thing that I thought was how fucking cute their gym uniforms are.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cute. We had the most hideous ones. It was a gray t-shirt that had a little hawk on it and then blue basketball shorts.
And yeah, and you would like try to hike the basketball shorts up to make them look cuter, and you'd like tie the shirt in the back.
Yep. It wasn't a look.
No. So if you know, most people know the story of Carrie, even if you haven't seen it. This is a story of loneliness and isolation and what it can do to a person.
Bullying,
and generational trauma is a huge part of it. Yeah. And obviously religious trauma. Yeah. So starts out, they are, and it's going to be kind of hard for me to go through the plot. I feel like she's going to be mostly going through the plot, and I'm going to be commenting. So yeah, they start out, they're in gym class. It's volleyball, I think. And, of course, Carrie fucks it up because she's not athletic. It's fine.
Her mom never exposed her to sports or anything.
And so she's like thin as a rail, probably anemic, and it's a goddamn high school gym class volleyball game, and these girls are acting like it's the goddamn Olympics.
They're all like, fuck you, Carrie. Not fuck you, but
shit.
Eat shit.
Play the game. Can't win a game with her on the team. Look at her. Just standing there with the ball.
You eat shit.
Like, bitch. I want to say I was super excited when I saw PJ Souls. I didn't know PJ Souls was in this.
I love PJ Souls. She plays Norma. Norma was supposed to have a smaller role in the movie, but
because of how amazing she is.
Yes, but because of that first scene when PJ Souls hits Carrie with her cap that she wears through the whole movie, and did that just as an ad lib, Brian De Palma was like, I like her.
We gotta
Me
work.
too.
We gotta work that in.
And if you don't know who we're talking about, PJ Souls is totally the girl from the original Halloween.
I love her. She acted her fucking ass off in Halloween to get a bigger role too.
Mm-hmm. And she's the one that literally she just keeps saying totally. And then also, see anything you like? That's, we love PJ, man.
We love her. She's so kind.
She is wearing a red baseball cap through this entire movie. She is not kind in this movie. Nora's not kind.
As a person out in the world.
Of course.
But I was saying that next we go to the locker room where everyone's showering and
this beautiful score. I mean, just like this almost lullaby-like quality to it, and it's got this like very soft filter over it. Everyone's like kind of blurred, almost like a Vaseline over it.
I loved that.
Slow motion, just very...
Everything was very intentional.
Yes, very beautiful and sensual, and unfortunately it's teenage girls naked in a locker room.
I was like,
But they're all in their, like, mid to late 20s in real life.
That's another thing I said. I'm just like, none of these people, especially, like, when you get to the prom scene later, there's not a single goddamn guy in that room, specifically the men, that looked like a teenager. Mm-hmm. They all looked like 30-some-year-old men with giant mustaches. I'm like, what?
Mrs. Fuck, I forgot the teacher's name,
The coach?
Yes, the coach. It's Desjardins in the book, but I can't remember what it is.
I just kept writing coach.
Yeah, anyway, the coach in this movie was only like 2 or 3 years older than most of the actresses playing the main roles.
That's insane. But, yeah, so we get this locker room scene. I was like, girls' locker rooms? I've never been to one that looked like that.
No. Everyone hated getting naked in front of each other. You, like, covered yourself while you, like, put on your gym uniform because
to be fair, though, like,
an insecure
60-year-old and early 80s were a very different time.
There's a lot of bush. I love it. A lot of bush. A lot of real titties. I just like 70s titties.
70s and 80s titties were the best titties.
They were, because nobody wore...
Yeah, they had the shape.
Yeah, they, like, went down just a little bit, but then, like, cupped at the bottom. Oh, those are good titties.
Great titties.
Good titties.
Yeah, my favorite era of titties.
Same. I love all titties.
True.
So, this is when Carrie gets her period for the first time. She's in this it's one of the only moments that we see Carrie, peaceful, at peace. She's in the shower by herself, and she starts bleeding, and you immediately know she doesn't know what's going on.
She's having a fucking panic attack, and she's like, she is having this peaceful moment, like, massaging her body, like, taking, like, really getting to, like, know herself, because we'll see later, like, we are under the impression that her mother has kept her under a fucking, like, rock, and not even being able to, like, know who she is as a person and explore herself, or her sexuality or anything like that. And so we just see her, like, really loving and enjoying herself, and then we get this...
A moment of peace.
Yeah, and we get this really fucked up moment of, like, her freaking out, and she's going to the girls.
The change of the score, as soon as you see the blood drip down her leg with the, like, soapy water, it just dun, dun, and she, like, pulls it up on her hands. It's all in slow-mo. Like, this is a perfect film. I will not say anything bad about this movie. I can guarantee you right now, because this is a perfect film.
I don't think I have anything bad to say about
it. Everything is so intentional, from the acting, line delivery, the fucking cinematography, the score, everything is so perfect to a T. Like, this is the only version of this movie that Stephen King likes. I like the 2002 one, okay? We'll get to it. I like it. I also like The Rage Carrie too. Anyway.
So, she's crying for help from any of these girls, just devastated, and they all just start making fun of her, taunting her, throwing pads and tampons at her.
Plug it up.
And then she's like cowering in the corner, and they're just throwing all this shit on her, and it's traumatizing.
Oh, it's horrifying. Truly horrifying. And so the coach comes in, she's trying to figure out what's going on. She gets to Sue first, and I think it's very important that when she comes in, she and Sue have a moment where she looks her in the face, like, one-on-one, away from, like, because she's kind of on the edge of the group. Sue is played by Amy Irving, who I love, Sue Snell, and you can see in her face when the coach looks at her, and she's like, what are you doing? You can see the moment where Sue is like, fuck, what am I doing? Not one other person in the entire group that does this feels that remorse.
Yeah.
The only one who does is the one who gets that look in the eye from the coach and is like, what the fuck do you think you're doing right now? What is this?
At first, I was not on the coach's team 100% because she, like, is, like, shaking her, and then she, like, slapped her to try to, like, knock some sense into her. Yeah. And I was like, and she said, you need to grow up and take care of yourself. And I was like, the coach is a mega bitch.
There's a lot of smacking in this movie that was a lot more normalized back then, that today I was like, oof.
I know, and I don't think I was able to take myself out of that moment because that's the first slap that I saw of the movie.
It was a lot more normalized back then, of course. Not okay. But, and then also, the coach does realize, fuck, you don't know what's going on.
Absolutely. And I come back around very quickly to really appreciating her character. But in this moment, I was like, this lady's part of the fucking problem. Yeah. And it also comes down to the, like, fact of how she was talking to the principal about the situation when Carrie was right outside the office door and could hear everything. And she was just like, you know, I saw these girls, like, and I wanted to kind of join in and shake her and be like, what is wrong? Like, this isn't a big deal. And I was just like, what the fuck is up with this coach? But she redeems herself later.
Yes, she's actually a good person. Way
yeah.
coach.
So Carrie gets sent home for the rest of the day and excused from gym for a week.
Yep. Gets home, and of course the school has told her mother, Margaret White, Mrs. White.
Before that, though, sorry to interrupt.
Creepy Carrie!
Yeah, there's a little boy on his bike, and he says that to her, and she goes, and it was like, fell over.
That happens in every version. It's the best in this one. And kids on bikes, man. What a Stephen King trope. So it's Miss Collins, is Coach Collins. It's Desjardins in the book and in the remake. So when she gets home, Mrs. White is an over-the-top religious fanatic.
Crazy fucking evangelist, psycho.
Yes. Played by Piper Laurie, who, when she started reading the script, thought it was awful. And then talked to her husband about it, who said, "Oh, it's a black comedy." Reread the script and thought, "Oh, it's great." So that's kind of how she said she played it the whole time. She couldn't take herself seriously because she didn't think it was realistic, which, yes, it is. People are definitely like this. This is not that
sadly.
over the fucking top. But, so yeah, she really, and still to this day, refers to it as a black comedy.
Well, her mom, God, the acting was incredible. She truly, gave me chills with how much I was disgusted with her. Because, you said, that Carrie never got to live a normal life because her mother wouldn't allow it.
At the end, when Piper Laurie has her little monologue about, when her husband came home drunk and they fucked, and she's like, and I liked it. She is such, she kills this role.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
in such, just so disoriented this whole movie. Just so over the top. And I'm fucking obsessed.
Well, she accuses, like you said, the school called, and she is accusing Carrie of being impure and say, the blood only comes when you're a sinner, things of that nature. I don't remember the exact quotation, but she smacked her. Two times this girl got smacked in a day just for getting her fucking period.
Yep. She had sent into her prayer closet, which is a huge thing. Yeah.
And she's just pleading with her, Mama, I wasn't sinning,
Why
broke
didn't
my
you
heart.
tell me, Mama? Why didn't you tell me?
They were all laughing at me.
I fucking love Sissy Spacek.
God.
This is a perfect performance. There are few performances that are truly this perfect, and that is one of the things that makes the audiobook so good.
I have chills just
because
talking about it.
when she is reading her own lines, when she's reading Carrie's lines, she's putting that same performance into it. The audiobook is so good. I listened to it on my back and forth to Florida when we drove a couple years ago.
Oh, I love.
So yeah, and this is a pretty close adaptation to the book. The book is written after the fact, mostly in retellings, newspaper stories, stuff like that, interviews with police. So it's a different version of it, but it's a pretty close retelling, if we're being honest. So then, of course, the girls get detention for what they did. They have detention with Miss Collins, which is fucking working out, man.
And if they don't go to detention, they're not allowed to go to prom. And that is, their life.
I would have been so sad. I would have never bullied someone. But if I hadn't been able to go to prom, I would have been so sad. I loved prom.
Yeah.
I had such a good time.
Also, we forgot to mention a little thing that becomes important later. They were in class, and they were reading poetry, and Tommy, this cute blonde boy, reads this poem, and he's like, "Any criticisms?" And Carrie's like, "It's beautiful." And then the teacher starts making fun of her.
Yeah.
And it's just
And Tommy goes, "You suck." Teacher says, "What did you say?"
Aw, shucks.
I love Tommy Ross. I am a Tommy Ross defender till the end. This is my favorite version of Tommy Ross.
Yeah, I didn't know what to feel about him at first, because I was like, But I think he was genuine, and I didn't know that he had no idea what was going on, later with the prom scene. And when I did find that out, I was like,
genuinely love
justice
Tommy
for
Ross.
Tommy.
I am so in love with this boy's hair.
Oh, he's handsome, for sure.
So cute. I love that. I am obsessed with the blonde curls. If you have blonde curls like that, boys, grow them out, grow them out, grow them out.
So yeah, I thought that was important to note, but we're back to detention, where Chris, which is
Chris Hargensen, our main bully,
blonde, bitch, antagonistic.
Played by Nancy Allen. She does an amazing job.
She's an amazing bitch.
She's great. By the way, I forgot to mention earlier, Amy Irving, who plays Sue Snell, was originally going to be cast as Carrie. And then Brian De Palma, saw the audition for Sissy Spacek and was like, oh, that's my Carrie. The one big difference from the book is that, obviously, Carrie in the movie is super, super rail thin, 90 pounds soaking wet. In the book, she is kind of a chubbier, she's described as, a little thicker, and, she's got pimply face, and, a very, described as a very, quote, unattractive teenager. And, so, that is one criticism of, not so much of this movie, because I think they did a great job making Sissy Spacek look like this outcast, just... I hate to...
weirdo is the only word.
Exactly.
Not that you guys know what we mean. Yeah, it's a horror movie trope. She's the weirdo.
That's one of the things that I really truly hated about the 2013 remake is that I'm sorry, I cannot. You can't convince me that Chloe Grace Moretz is not they didn't even really try to make her look. It's just Chloe Grace. Yeah, it's just Chloe Grace Moretz. There's no way she's being made fun of like that. I kind of felt the same way for Freaky, which I really loved. Freaky, the 2020
I haven't
body
seen
swap
that yet.
Feel the same way about Catherine Newton. I'm sorry. There are people calling her ugly in the movie, and I'm like, it's Catherine Newton, but okay.
Yeah. But
so anyway, Chris gets fed up and leaves detention and gets kicked out of the prom.
Also, she got smacked in the face by the coach.
Hilarious.
I loved it. I said that was so satisfying. So this is where the coach started redeeming herself for me, because she was like, what you guys did was atrocious. Yeah. It was disgusting. You should all be ashamed.
Yeah, she wanted them all to lose their prom tickets anyway, but the principal said, no, let them have detention with you, and then if they don't do that, then we'll take their prom tickets.
Right. So she goes to... hang out with her boyfriend. What is his name?
Billy Nolan.
I just wrote John Travolta.
It is John Travolta.
He has very pretty lips.
Baby John Travolta.
Yeah, his lips are really pretty.
Tiny baby John Travolta.
His character's fucking awful,
though. He is a zygote in this movie. Oh my god, Billy Nolan is always the worst. This is one of the only versions of Billy Nolan that works for me. The Billy Nolan in the remake is So the Chris Hargensen in the remake is Portia de Rossi. I think she does fine. Billy Nolan in the remake, I can't remember his name. He is the least intimidating, most cucked,
look it up.
White boy, good old boy kind of Billy Nolan I've ever seen. And going back and watching this, I'm like, no, John Travolta was a beautiful man. Still is. Love him.
So, I'm looking it up, but my whole thing is, they're in the car, they pull over, things are getting sexy, then they start arguing, and she calls him what? Dumb shit?
Stupid shit.
Stupid shit, and he's like, don't call me that, and she called him that again, and he smacked the shit out of her.
He does it twice. He smacks her a little bit once, and then he smacks her hard again.
And then she, recovers for a second, and then starts, kissing him and sucking his dick.
Yeah, it goes down on him. But, is sucking his dick and also talking?
I was like, how can she keep saying his name so much and keep sucking?
Billy, I hate Carrie White. That was the last thing. The look on his face is like, what? No, shut up.
It was so camp.
So, and you can tell this entire time, when they were doing the, detention, Chris was like, Sue, we have to stand up together, blah, blah, blah. And Sue's like, shut the fuck up, Chris. Sue is she feels bad. You can tell she actually feels bad for what happened. And, So Sue decides, I think this is right around here. Oh, no, before Sue decides that, Chris and Billy Nolan and some others go to a pig farm.
That's Tommy Ansel Elgort? That's Tommy Ross.
Tommy Ross. He does a great Tommy Ross. I think he's a really good Tommy Ross.
I was like, he's kind.
Where's
the fucking... Sorry, I'm trying to find Billy Nolan.
Looking for Billy Nolan. Yeah, Tommy, he does a good Tommy Ross in that. So they go to a pig farm, they drain some pig's blood. We all know what that's for. And I wish I could, like, go back in time and watch this in theaters, like, erase it from my memory and see that and be like, what the fuck are they planning? So they obviously put it in the gymnasium, and then this is when Sue goes to her boyfriend, Tommy Ross, who we met, obviously, earlier, blonde curls, and tells him she wants him to take Carrie White to the prom because she feels bad. And later on she says she feels like Carrie deserves a really fun night. And, like, yeah, it's a little... She's obviously trying to make herself feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he looks okay right there, but they made him look really bad in the movie.
Back to what you were saying, though, for me, I was under the impression that Sue and Tommy were in on the whole bit. So for me, yeah. When the coach pulled them aside and was like, why are you doing this?
Mm-hmm. Like, and it does feel performative because you can tell that Sue is trying to make herself feel better if she's being honest about it. And, like, later on she does, like, go to the prom so she can see, what she did for Carrie. And, like, yeah, you can look at that as, like, oh, well, Sue was just trying to make herself feel better. It's like, yeah, but she did also try to do a really nice thing.
Yeah.
And, like, did miss out on her own senior prom with her boyfriend.
Right.
Like, that's really sweet.
Yeah, so I was a little confused until later in the movie because I thought that they were both in their villain era. But I'm happy to find out that they weren't. I loved the connection that she had with the coach where she pulled her aside and told her how beautiful she was. And she's like, just put some curl on your hair. Throw a little makeup on. Like, you'll feel pretty. Like, she's like, but you're already, like,
The coach in the remake is played by, from Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, the daughter. I fucking love her. She's in so much.
It's gonna piss me off.
Wildly underused. She's in Archer. Oh my god, what is her fucking name?
What is she?
Coach Desjardins. She's the coach.
Judy Greer!
Yes, Judy Greer,
oh
yes.
God.
And the relationship she has with Chloe Grace Moretz in the remake is so good.
Oh, I love Judy Greer.
It really is. It's such a sweet thing. My problem with the 2013 remake... Actually, we're going to go through my feelings on the others at the end.
Cool.
After we do this movie, then I will tell you all about how I feel about all the rest of the Carries.
So the picnic thing happened.
Yeah. So anyway, so Sue tells Tommy to go ask Carrie to the prom. He asks Carrie. Carrie says no, obviously. And then he goes back to ask her at her house. He shows up to her house to ask her. And she's like, why do you want to take me? And he's like, because you like my poem.
Yeah.
Which he later admits
he didn't write.
He didn't write it.
Oh, well.
But I think it's still so cute. And
he's like, I'm not. She's like, Mom's resting. Like, you have to go. And he's like, I'm not going to go until you say yes.
Yep.
And she's like, fine, yes. And then slams the door in his face.
And then there's a very, very just devastating scene between Carrie and her mom where she's telling her that she's going to the prom. And the lighting in this scene is so fucking good. It's pretty much exclusively lit by candles. And at one point, Margaret throws a glass of water in Carrie's face.
It was in a mug. I thought it was like a hot beverage.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it was in a mug. Who drinks water out of a mug?
And it blows out the candle or whatever. It this whole scene just gets really dark, and like Carrie's face is still dripping with water. She immediately recovers and is like, no, I'm going. I don't care.
Finally standing up for herself.
She like tries to put her in the prayer closet, and Carrie like does something with her mind, and she like, her mom realizes like, oh shit.
She like slammed all the windows.
Because one thing we haven't mentioned that I think everyone knows about Carrie has telekinesis. She is discovering that through this whole movie, and it is so much a symbol for her burgeoning womanhood, basically. It is her coming to terms with becoming a different person, becoming a woman, and coming into her own. Yeah. Yes. And her mother sees it as evil and the Sin. Devil coming out in her, and yeah.
She's like, Dad, like, the Satan took Dad from us. And Carrie's like, Mom, he ran away with another woman.
Everyone knows that. Like, but she's like, now that she's accepted the prom proposal, she's like gaining confidence. She's like realizing like, I don't have to listen to her. I can be my own person.
I'm not gonna live this miserable life that I've been living.
Me.
But yeah, so her mom called her a witch.
Yep.
You know, that basically wraps that scene up. The next scene I thought was so fucking funny. It's the only scene in the movie that is shot this way. It is the gentlemen going to pick out their tuxes.
You'll make a good impression for once in your life.
Would you go out with me? Not with Ruffles.
All right, well, you don't have to get Ruffles for yourself. You always got to make a joke, right?
No, I just don't like Ruffles.
You don't like Ruffles? You don't have to get Ruffles!
It's fucking hilarious. I love this scene.
There's like one little moment of like, yep. And that was it. Like, that was the entire... Yep. It was like 10 seconds, if even.
It was very much a little comic relief where they're all like picking out their tuxes, and
that guy's like, I don't want ruffles, and he ends up getting like a tuxedo, like long sleeve shirt. And they're like, look, absolutely no ruffles, and I just thought it was really funny.
Yeah, it is really cute when they're doing that. She buys the materials for her dress and makes it, of course,
and it's beautiful.
Beautiful. I love that dress so much.
Her mom calls her boobs dirty pillows.
I can see your dirty pillows. Breasts. They're called breasts, Mama, and every woman has them.
Her boobs did look real good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sissy Spacek is stunning. She looks so good.
She looked absolutely gorgeous. She had a beautiful corsage.
I love the way that this scene is shot when when Margaret's walking back and forth and it's kind of tracking with her. It's kind of kiltered. It's just very, very, very intentional. We get a lot of split diopter shots in this movie. That's a Brian De Palma signature. If you don't know what it is, you've seen it before 100 times. It is where one thing is closer in frame and it is in focus, and then the thing that is further in the frame on the other side of the screen is also in focus. So it's split. So like the scene where in the class where where Carrie says she likes this poem or whatever, that's a split diopter shot. You see him in focus in the front and her in focus further back.
Yeah. So
if you hear me saying that, that's what that is. So we see
her mom is losing it at this point.
Yes.
This is the scene that's super iconic. You know, I've even heard this quote, and I hadn't seen the movie, when she's telling her that they're all going to laugh at her.
They're all going to laugh at you.
And,
they're all going to laugh at you.
And then she starts fucking hitting herself. And like pulling her own hair. It's psychotic. Trying to prevent her from leaving.
Yeah, and Carrie like slams her onto the bed with her powers. Just like, stay there. I am going to the prom.
And then she gets up again and Carrie puts her back on the bed and said, now sit there and don't say a word until I leave. And I was like, you go, bitch.
Yep. And I love the prom scene.
I do too. I was like, their prom looks so cool.
It's so pretty.
It's beautifully shot. Everything is shiny.
She looks amazing.
Yeah, she's still kind of nervous at this point.
She, like, the way he talks her up is so beautiful.
Yeah.
The scene, there's a couple part I love literally every part of the prom. From here until the end of the movie, I mean the whole movie, but from here until the end, I am so enraptured by every moment because it's so serene and beautiful when she's at the prom, and there's the scene where they're dancing together, and
it made me so dizzy.
Yes, they were. So Carrie and Tommy were on a platform that was spinning one way, and then there was a camera on a dolly spinning the opposite way, so it looks like it's going even faster, and it goes around and around and around and around.
I was sitting there like,
so fucking long. And if we just end the movie here, I am happy.
Tommy was like patient with her, teaching her how to dance. It was so fucking sweet.
And like when she didn't want to at first, she's like, "Can we just say?" He's like, "Oh yeah, for sure." Like it's just, I love it. He's giving her the best time, and she's like, "Why am I here?" And he's like, "Because I asked you. Why'd you ask me?"
Because you liked my poem.
You liked my poem. Like it's just really fucking cute. And we see Sue Snell come up to the prom, and there is that. Of course, I don't remember a time I didn't know this story, but if you don't know the story and you watch Sue come to the prom, you're like, why the fuck is she there?
And like, she's looking around the backdrop, which is where like the string for the pig's blood is, and she's like holding it. So I was like,
and Chris and Billy are underneath the stage. We see them under the stage.
You know.
We also know that Norma, PJ Souls, and one of the guy friends has taken over the ballot boxes for King and Queen. Mm-hmm. So we know that that they're planning to, rig the thing so that Tommy and Carrie win. And so Sue is standing there, like kind of looking, because like they're getting announced as King and Queen, and she's like smiling, and she really does look so fucking happy. She's got her hand there, and she feels the string move a little. This is one of my favorite scenes in the entire movie. It is one of the greatest long one takes of all time. It starts when PJ Souls is picking up the ballots. It follows her around the, like the dance floor or whatever, back around the floor. Like she goes around twice, like picking up ballots, doing something, dropping the ballots, kicking them underneath. It follows back to where, or it follows over to Tommy and Carrie when they win prom King and Queen. Goes over to where Sue is standing when she sees the string move. Goes up the... Or no. Before that, it goes around, goes to where Sue is. She sees the string. It goes up the string to where the bucket is. And then it zooms in on Tommy and Carrie. And it's like a 2.5 minute long, like, one take. And it is so good.
It was really... Yeah, that was a great shot. And you just see everybody, like, smiling, and the coach is so happy for her. She came over and talked to her earlier and told her how beautiful she looked. So this is where I wrote, I was like, Sue was trying to stop her, ? I'm confused. Because I didn't, after that scene, we get Chris and Billy are, ready to let go of the rope, and Sue was actually like trying to stop them.
It's all in like really slow motion, so you're just like
dread.
It's like so tense. You're like, no, she's so close, because she's trying to tell the coach like that they're under there, but the coach thinks she's there to ruin everything, of course. So she's pulling her out, and Sue's trying to explain. And Tommy and Carrie are going up to be prom king and queen. They get their crowns on, and it's all in such super fucking slow-mo. There's no, like, you can't hear anybody talking. It's just the score.
He kisses her.
It is, oh my god, yes. It is so fucking beautiful. And, like, when she's standing there with the flowers, if we could just cut to credits. I want a fucking movie where we just cut to credits there, and I am happy.
No, I would say we cut the prom scene there. Tommy takes her home respectfully. Her mom tries to kill her. She kills her mom, and then cut the movie there.
Yes.
Because her mom needs to die.
Yeah, her mom does suck. So...
Yeah. So, this is the moment that I realized Tommy didn't know. Like I said, those things came later for me in my understanding of what was going on, and the bucket dumped all the blood on Carrie. Tommy's like, what the fuck? Because he was in his powder blue suit, looking handsome.
Looking so good.
Then the bucket fell on him and knocked him out.
Kills him.
That killed him? I thought that just knocked him out.
Kills him.
Whoa.
It's widely considered, and in the book too, but yeah, in the movies it's always widely considered a death for him.
Wow.
Looks very non-lethal. That is one thing that the 2013 version does have, is the way that they drop the bucket on Ansel Elgert's head. It's like, oh, that might have killed him. This is like a bucket on the head. But
it's like yeah.
But no, that does kill Tommy.
I thought it knocked him out, and then
it's very important that he died in that moment, because that is one of the major things that sets Carrie over the edge.
Heard.
It's the blood, it's the laughter, but it's also she knows Tommy's dead, because Tommy was her one thing. She knew Tommy was good. Because, like, literally, as soon as it happened and all the blood falls, he immediately is, like, you can see him mouth, what the hell is, like...
Yeah.
He's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, and so he dies, and so she starts... There's these, like, kaleidoscope, like, images. Like, it literally looks like you're looking through a kaleidoscope into the crowd. PJ Soles starts laughing first, and then everyone starts laughing. And you see, and like, the score mixing in this scene is so good, because it's the score, it's her mom saying over and over again, they're all gonna laugh at you. It's the principal saying, we're all very sorry, Cassie. It's these people saying, like, over and over again, and it's just, like, it's maddening to listen to. And, like, her face, she's literally just, like, just covered in blood, and her eyes are so wide and so white.
It's so terrifying. Like, her facial expressions. Like,
she's looking out at the crowd, everyone's laughing, you can see the coach laughing, which I truly believe was just in her mind.
100%.
I don't think the coach was actually laughing.
No, I don't think so either.
So she sees everyone laughing, and then, PJ Soul, before... shit really starts going down, Billy Nolan and Chris Harkness get the fuck out of there. They come out from the stage, they get out of the building, and they're looking in through a window. A couple other people start to walk out, and as they have the doors half open and they're kind of half out, Carrie, like, the, like, look, and the... it's
shutting the fucking doors, and, like...
eyes are so scary.
Yeah, she looks
so she's crushing these two guys between the doors. These two die. And that's when everything starts going crazy. And
hits the fan.
This was the first time I asked myself this watching this time. The 200th time I've watched this movie. I wonder, because I know that the coach knew that it was Carrie doing it. I wonder if anyone in that gym had any idea what was actually happening. Like, do you think they actually knew Carrie was doing it? I know she was standing up there.
I mean,
but the chaos starts so fast, and then the water starts because she turns on the sprinklers, and then she turns on the big fire hose. Fun fact, not so fun fact, PJ Soles, so she gets downed by the hose in that. In real life, they were using a pretty high pressure hose, and when you see her, like, fall back and her head fall to the side, PJ Soles actually, like, burst her eardrum in that scene, and, like,
oh my god,
had like a really bad time after that because of it. But
so here's my logic as to why I think that people knew, and that is the end scene where Carrie's headstone essentially was a for rent sign or a for sale sign, and it was written Carrie White burn in hell.
Yeah.
And I was like, why would they write that if she was just a weirdo?
No, that makes total sense. Yeah.
That's my interpretation.
Yeah.
So.
That makes sense. That wasn't a part of the book, so.
Yeah, so. I said, we don't need no water. Let that motherfucker burn.
So then, obviously, so at one point, the principal grabs the microphone. He gets electrocuted. He catches on fire, which catches the gym on fire.
The backdrop,
everyone's freaking out, of course. The coach gets killed. Something, like, drops down and, like, kind of, like, crushes her. That's really sad. She's like, calling. She's like, Carrie, no! It's too late, buddy.
Yeah.
I love when she, like, starts walking and she's got, like, her hands up, like, she's just doing the, like, very, like, I love her so much.
It's so good.
I've got the very, like, cute, happy version of her doing that.
Yeah, my Alex from A Clockwork Orange is also very happy and cute.
And they got little hearts.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that we got, like, almost the exact same shape.
Aww.
He's terrible. This is his style, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carrie's a tragic character. He's not tragic. He's awful.
He's just fucked up.
You also have a fucking... Never mind.
I didn't say that I was an angel.
No,
I'm a
because you're the
devil.
hottest devil.
Anyways.
That music is the devil.
So the gym is burning. Carrie opens the doors to let herself out. And then we see fucking Chris and Billy.
In the car.
And they see Carrie and they drive full speed at her.
Yeah. And this is a really fucking cool practical stunt too. So much practical stunts in this movie. Which I love. Which is one of the reasons I fucking hate the remake. One of the many, many, many reasons that we will get to. They are driving at her full speed. At the very last second, she turns around with another one of those, like, musical stings. And, the car, like, swerves at the last second. And, like, flips. And you can, when the car does that, they, like, had a, like, big, like, wooden pole thing in the ground that, like, when the car, like, went over to that side, it, like, popped up so that, like, tipped the car over.
That's
I love
so
learning
cool.
stuff like that. I love practical stunts. Stunt teams are the reason movies are as good as they are.
It was terrifying. You knew in that
Yeah.
moment, like, they were done for.
Oh, yeah. So that car catches straight up on fire. They burn to death, which is awesome.
And Carrie then just moseys on home.
Yep, she walks home. One of the big differences from this and the book, purely for financial reasons. So in the book, when she's on her way home, she destroys the entire town. She's blowing up gas stations. The entire town catches on fire and burns to the ground, basically.
Oh, wow.
But they didn't have the budget for that in this. They didn't have the budget or the technology for it in the 2002 one either, but they did it. Looks like a 2002 Windows, like, fucking...
Oh,
like,
no.
sleep screen. It's bad. Anyway, so she finally gets home. She cleans herself up.
There's no lights on. There's, like 500 candles lit in the whole house.
A million fucking candles.
And we didn't mention earlier, but during the prom scene, there's a cutback scene to her mother, and she's aggressively chopping these carrots. And then she, like...
I forgot. And then just chopping at nothing because the carrot goes away.
And then she's just, like, comes to this revelation that she has to murder the sin or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember, but...
Yeah, she gotta kill her.
Yeah, so she's gonna kill her
So
daughter.
then this is when she tells the story. This is Piper Laurie's, like, crowning moment of this movie because this monologue's amazing. She talks about how her husband, you know, how she and him decided not to live in sin, but then he came home one night smelling a whiskey and touching on her, and they fucked, and she literally said, I should have killed myself when he put it in me, which is, like, one of the, like, just wow, dude.
And she said she should have killed her when she was born.
Yep. So she goes through this whole thing. She basically said that. So then she, it's this fucking just devastating moment when Carrie is begging her mom. She's like, Mama, hold me.
Just hold
and
me.
I have felt that before where I just want my mom to just, like, and it just, like, she's being rejected and it's so hard to watch. And then her mom stabs her in the back.
Her mom doesn't give a shit what she has to say ever. She's too busy rambling on about Jesus nonsense.
So yeah, she literally stabs her. Carrie falls down the stairs. They get into a physical thing.
She was smiling when she stabbed her in the back. It was fucking creepy.
It is terrifying. Piper Laurie does a great job.
Yeah.
Maybe that whole her thinking it was a black comedy was like worked. So Carrie, this is when she is sending the knives at her mom. She ends up in the Jesus position.
I said hung like Jesus.
This is another big De Palma move with she's like moaning in ecstasy, basically.
It was fucking weird.
It is very, very weird. And then as soon as she's dead, Carrie screams and realizes, like, no, I killed my mom. And she, like, pulls her down. The house is burning, falling apart. It collapses. Pretty much what happens in the book.
She pulled her into the murder closet.
Yes.
The
prayer closet.
Yeah, same thing, basically.
Prayer murder. So yeah, she destroys the whole house. They both die. And then this creepy scene at the end with Sue Snell, going to the gravestone. It's a dream scene. So she's walking to the, like, little for sale sign where where it burned or whatever. And she's, like, putting flowers down and the hand reaches up. One of the greatest jump scares of all time. truly one of the greatest jump scares of all time. I love the way they shot this scene. They shot it backwards, actually, to give it that dreamlike effect, and you can see a car driving backwards in the scene.
Oh,
like, when she's walking up the sidewalk before she turns, you can see a car driving backwards. It's really fucking cool. Very, reminds me of the very end of Nightmare on Elm Street, the way that kind of looked. Yeah.
No. I wouldn't let her go to the funerals. With Tommy and all the others gone, it's best we just go away for a while.
So yeah, so that's basically the end of our movie.
Yes, that is the 1976 Carrie. It is a perfect fucking movie. It is an incredible book. It was the first book that Stephen King wrote and published. It became an overnight success because of how fucking great it was. It was the first then movie to be adapted from a Stephen King book. He got paid a very, very small amount for it, but he didn't care. He was just really excited to get his book adapted. I'm sure he had no idea the kind of fucking success that he would find. Just wow. I'm currently reading In the Tall Grass by him and his son Joe Hill. It's so good. It's weird. I've seen the movie though. It's good. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about these remakes. So the first is not really a remake. It's the 1990, I think 8. It's The Rage Carrie 2, which has nothing to do with the book. Stephen King absolutely had nothing to do with it and hates it. I like it. I think it's funny. It is a sequel where it's like this alt-goth girl who turns out she's a sister of Carrie White. They were fathered by the same person, and she has the telekinetic powers. It's this whole fucking stupid movie, but I like it. I think it's decent. It's very, very much of its time. It is a late 90s movie, 100%. But it really doesn't, it doesn't have a whole lot to do with the story. She's an outcast, whatever. She ends up sleeping with this guy, and some of his friends, like, record it or whatever, but he doesn't know, and then they invite her to this party and show her it, and so then she murders all of them. It's just very much of its time. There is the 2002 Angela Bettis remake, which is a made-for-TV movie. Very made-for-TV graphics. But I really like it. It's different in a lot of ways than the original, because it's even closer to the book in some ways, because it's got that, like, after-the-fact storytelling thing where a lot of it is done in police interviews after the tragedy. So a lot of it is Sue Snell telling the story, which is how the book is written. And then the kind of funny, kind of cool thing about the ending of the 2002 is Carrie lives in the end. They fake her death, and she lives, and her and Sue Snell, like, run off together, basically, so that, like, they can go into hiding, because Carrie obviously murdered a fucking bunch of people. And it was supposed to start a spin-off of Angela Bettis and the Sue Snell character as, like, a TV series. That never happened. I wonder why. I like that. I think there's enough differences, and I think that the portrayal that Angela Bettis does of Carrie, like, Sissy Spacek's Carrie is very demure, silent, she accepts it, but she's like, you know, she's just sad.
Yeah.
The Angela Bettis, she knows her place, like, she knows that she's, like, an outcast, she knows she's, like, a nerd, or whatever you want to call her, but she's, like, angrier about it, if that makes sense, like, but she's just more matter of fact, like, she's a little more aggressive. I like her portrayal of Carrie, I really do, and I think it's different enough that it makes sense that they made a remake. And then 2013 comes along. I love Chloe Grace. Moretz. I think she's hilarious. I think she's a great actress. I love Julianne Moore. I think she's amazing. Amazing actress. I think her portrayal in this movie, she does a very different Margaret White. You can tell she loves her daughter more than the Piper Laurie version. She is just so scared. Like, she plays it in a more fearful, not as malicious kind of relationship with Carrie. Like, it's a little more loving in a way. Like, they are
she's
a little
scared
closer.
that her soul is going to be damned to hell.
Truly. But all the effects are just, like, really over the top and stupid. I love Chloe Grace, but, like, her portrayal of Carrie is just so weird. And whenever she's doing the, like, telekinesis thing, she's always got this weird look on her face. She's like... And, like, her mouth is always open for some reason. It's so fucking stupid.
Like, close it.
Close your mouth. And then it's almost a shot-for-shot remake. They literally do nothing different except for update the effects. Like, there is... And it's not even a different adaptation of the book. It is legitimately just a remake of the 1976 Brian De Palma movie. Which...
Didn't need to be remade.
Didn't need to... Like, if you're going to remake it, do something different with it. There are so many things you can do to readapt that book, that story, and not just have it be almost a shot-for-shot, bland, boring fucking version.
Unseasoned.
I will never watch that version for any reason other than, like, if I had to for this podcast. And I didn't for this because I've already seen it. Like, I don't... If I want to watch Carrie, I will watch the original. If for some reason I seriously don't want to watch the original or I can't find it anywhere, I will watch the fucking 2002 remake or the fucking Rage Carrie 2. I have no reason to ever go back and watch that version.
Well, I have never seen it, and I have no reason to now either.
No, you don't. Like, if
the original was amazing. I truly loved it.
If you truly want a different version, and you're like, I just want to watch a different version of Carrie, watch the Rage Carrie 2. You would love the Rage Carrie 2. I know you would. I know your aesthetic. It is very your aesthetic. And they bring back the actress, Amy Irving, who plays Sue Snell.
Oh,
She plays Sue Snell in the sequel. She, like, comes back and talks to the, can't remember what the character's name is, but the new Carrie character.
Cool.
She, like, comes, she's like, yeah, there was a tragedy a long time ago. She also had powers. And so that's a good movie. I would suggest watching that movie. If you would like to watch the 2002 one, go fucking watch it. Angela Bettis does a great job. It's actually decent. There is no need to watch the 2013 one. It's boring.
Yeah.
Boring.
But I really enjoyed watching this movie finally. I feel like I've done a disservice to myself not watching the full thing sooner, but can't change it now.
I mean, there are gaps in everyone's. There are movies that I haven't seen. There are movies... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It fucking happens. We just... showed Daryl last night. That's my boy.
Donnie Biggie.
Whoa,
You got a back tattoo. Whoa, The head's all fucking warped.
Oh, I love that so much. That makes me so happy.
It was so good.
Such a good movie. So bad, but so good. Did not age well. So problematic, but...
All of that.
Donnie Biggie. So fucking stupid. He goes down on girls for a wicked long time. So anyway, we love Carrie. We love Stephen King. You guys are going to get a lot more Stephen King coming up. We'll announce some things next week. So stay tuned for next week's episode. Next week will be the number 23. We did not have a fun time with it.
Oh my god. It's hard to follow, but we're doing our best.
This movie really sucks. Yeah, so it's bad. But we had fun covering it, I guess. So that'll be next week. But yeah, so I hope you guys love Carrie. Go watch Carrie. Go watch Stephen King movies. Thank you so much, Nicole, for requesting this. I've had a blast. Sometimes it's hard for me to put the classics on there because I'm like, oh, I love them too much for me to... But then if somebody requests them, it's like, yes, I get to do Carrie.
Yes, thank you, Nicole. Happy birthday.
Happiest of birthdays. Seriously, I hope this is the best year yet for you. We wish all the best things for you. Thank you so much for being a listener. You've obviously been a listener for so long. We love you. This is your fucking episode. So happy birthday. We love you the most. Make sure the rest of you, because we know she follows us, so the rest of you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Deepers Creepers, on TikTok at Deepers Creepers Pod. Email us, deeperscreeperspod@gmail.com for comments, questions, concerns, requests.
Yes.
Requests. And make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And until next week, stay spooky. Bye.